My name is Jason. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning in New York City, London, or Sydney. You walk into a cafe. You want to order coffee. You want to talk to the people around you, but suddenly, you realize you don't have the right words. You freeze. But what if I told you that there are exactly 100 simple phrases that can unlock English for you? Phrases that people use every single day. Learn them, use them, and you'll never be speechless again. Today, right here on TalkTune English, I'm going to give you those 100 daily English phrases, and not only will I show you what they mean, but I'll also show you how to use them naturally, just like native speakers. This is not just a lesson. This is your survival kit for real conversations. Stay with me until the end, because phrase number 100 is the one most learners always forget, but it's the one that makes you sound truly fluent. And welcome to TalkTune English. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and comment below with the country you're watching from. I love hearing where my students are tuning in from around the world. All right, let's begin. Our first group of phrases are the ones that help you start a conversation and connect with people. They're short, friendly, and you'll hear them every day. For example, instead of always saying hello or hi, try saying, how's it going? This is very natural. If someone asks you this, just answer, it's going well, or simply, good, thanks. How about you? Another one you'll hear a lot is, what's up? Don't let this confuse you. It doesn't literally mean something is above you. It just means, how are you? Or what are you doing? You can answer with, not much, or just relaxing. Very simple. If you meet someone you haven't seen for a while, you can smile and say, long time no see. It's casual and warm. And if you want to ask about their life since you last met, say, how have you been? A natural answer is, I've been good. Thanks. And you? When you meet someone for the very first time, always say, nice to meet you. It never goes out of style. And when you meet someone you already know, you can say, nice to see you again. Sometimes, in professional situations, you might hear, how do you do? This one is more formal, and the correct response is the same phrase back. How do you do? You don't actually give details about yourself here. It's just a polite exchange. Of course, you can always use time-based greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. But remember, good night is not for greetings, it's for saying goodbye. And when you're leaving, a simple phrase like, take care, shows kindness, or you can say, see you later. Even if you don't really see them later that day, it still feels friendly. Now, let's move to another very important group of phrases, polite expressions. These are the words that make conversations smooth. Without them, even correct grammar can sound a little cold. One phrase you'll use constantly is, thank you so much. Adding so much makes it stronger and warmer. If someone helps you, you can say, thank you so much for helping me. Another powerful one is, I really appreciate it. This shows deep gratitude. For example, I really appreciate your advice. When someone thanks you, the simplest reply is, you're welcome. Another casual reply is, no problem. For instance, if someone says, thanks for the ride, you can smile and say, no problem. If you need to get someone's attention politely, say, excuse me. Example, excuse me, do you know where the station is? Oh, of course. Sometimes you'll need to apologize. I'm sorry works in every situation. I'm sorry I'm late. A very natural. In informal conversations, you can also say, "My bad," and it's casual, but it means the same as, "That was my mistake." If someone apologizes to you, a polite reply is, "Don't worry about it." For example, "Sorry I stepped on your foot." You can answer, "Don't worry about it." When you need help, always ask kindly, "Could you help me? Please." And if someone asks you for help, you can accept with a friendly phrase, "I'd be happy to." For example, "Can you help me with my homework?" You can answer, "I'd be happy to." So, we've already learned 20 daily English phrases, 10 for greetings, and 10 for polite expressions. If you only practice these, your English will already sound much more natural, warm, and confident. But this is only the beginning. Remember, we're going all the way to 100. By the end, you'll have a complete toolkit for real-life conversations. If you're finding this lesson helpful, give this video a like right now. It really helps TalkTune English reach more learners around the world. And don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss a lesson. We started with greetings and polite phrases. You already have 20 strong tools for daily English conversations. But now, let's go further. Imagine you are traveling or living abroad. You go to a shop. You sit down in a restaurant. You need to order, to ask, to respond. This is where many learners feel nervous. But don't worry. With the next set of phrases, you'll feel ready for any daily situation. Let's begin with shopping. When you walk into a store, the first thing you often hear is, "Can I help you?" This is the shop assistant offering support. You can answer, "Yes, I'm looking for," and then say the item. For example, "Yes, I'm looking for a jacket." Or, if you don't need help, you can say, "No, thanks. I'm just looking." That's phrase 1 and 2 in this new set. Next, if you want to know the cost, you ask, "How much is this?" Or simply, "How much does it cost?" This is short, clear, and direct. If you're not sure about the size or style, you can say, "Do you have this in a different size?" Or, "Do you have this in another color?" Very useful when shopping for clothes. When you want to try something before buying, the right phrase is, "Can I try this on?" This is usually for clothes or shoes. And when you're ready to pay, you can ask, "Can I pay by card?" Or, "Do you accept credit cards?" These phrases make shopping smooth and easy. Now let's move to restaurants and cafes. This is a situation every English learner faces. When you sit down, the server may ask, "Are you ready to order?" You can answer, "Yes, I'd like," followed by your food choice. For example, "Yes, I'd like a chicken sandwich, please." That's polite and natural. If you need more time, just say, "Not yet. We need a few more minutes." And that way, you don't feel rushed. When you want something to drink, you can say, "Can I have a coffee, please?" Notice that "can I have" is very common and polite in restaurants. If you didn't hear the server, don't panic. Simply ask, "Could you repeat that, please?" This is polite and shows confidence. At the end of the meal, you'll need the check. The natural phrase is, "Could we get the bill, please?" In the US, people often say bill or check. Both are correct. And if you enjoyed the food, a nice thing to say is, "That was delicious. Thank you." Believe me, waiters and chefs love hearing that. It makes the whole experience more human and friendly. Now, let's think about daily life situations when you're on the street, in public transport, or just moving through a busy city. These phrases help you handle those moments. If you need directions, ask, "Excuse me, Could you tell me how to get to me and then the place? For example, excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the train station? People are usually happy to help. If you want to know the time, you can ask, do you know what time it is? It's short and polite. Sometimes you might need help from a stranger. Just say, excuse me, could you help me? Please. This is polite, and most people will respond kindly. If someone helps you, always say, thank you. I really appreciate it. That small phrase can create a big smile. Quick question for you. Imagine you are sitting in a cafe right now in New York. What would you order? Write your answer in the comments. I'm really curious to see your favorite food or drink in English. Let's recap what we've learned. We covered shopping phrases like, I'm just looking, and how much is this? We learned restaurant phrases like, I'd like, and could we get the bill, please? And we covered daily life phrases for directions, time, and asking for help. That's another 20 phrases added to your toolkit. Now you have 40 total, enough to survive in many real-life situations. But we're not stopping here. In part 3, we'll move to phrases for social situations and small talk, the phrases that make you sound friendly, open, and confident when talking with new people. This is where you go from surviving in English to really connecting with others. So don't miss it. Give this video a like right now if you found these phrases helpful, and make sure you're subscribed to TalkTune English so you don't miss the next part. We're stepping into something even more important: social situations and small talk. Small talk is the art of having light, easy conversations with people you don't know very well. It may sound simple, but it's one of the keys to building relationships in English. Whether you're at work, at school, at a party, or even waiting for the bus, these phrases will help you sound friendly, natural, and confident. Let's begin with introductions. When you meet someone new, after you've said, nice to meet you, you can ask, so, where are you from? This question is simple and polite. The answer could be, I'm from Mexico, or I'm from Japan. And you can continue with, oh, I've always wanted to visit. That's a great way to show interest. Another friendly question is, what do you do? One, this usually means, what is your job? Or if you're a student, you can answer, I'm a student. If you're working, you can say, I work in marketing, or I'm a teacher. Sometimes, instead of asking about work, you can ask about free time. A good question is, what do you like to do in your free time? The person might say, I like reading, or I enjoy playing soccer. Then you can react with, that sounds fun, or really, me too. These reactions are small, but they keep the conversation alive. Now let's talk about weather. In English-speaking countries, talking about the weather is one of the most common forms of small talk. Simple phrases like, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Or, looks like it's going to rain, are perfect ways to start a conversation with a stranger. Even if the weather is boring, it's a safe topic. Another safe topic is the city or the place you are in. You can say, is this your first time here? Or, do you live around here? If someone is visiting, they may say, yes, I'm just visiting. If they live nearby, you can follow up with, oh, how do you like it? That shows genuine interest. Now imagine you're at a social event, maybe a friend's party. You meet someone new. After the first questions, you want to keep the conversation going. Try phrases like, how do you know the host? Or, have you been to one of these before? These questions give the other person space to share their story. If you're talking about movies, books, or music. You can ask, have you seen any good movies lately? Or, what kind of music do you like? And a natural reaction is, oh, I like that too. Or, I haven't seen that one yet, but I've heard it's good. Now let's think about being polite in small talk. Sometimes, you need a moment to think. Instead of staying silent, you can use fillers like, that's a good question, or let me think about that. These little phrases buy you time and make you sound natural. If you don't understand something, don't panic. Just say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? Or, what does that mean? But people will respect your effort. And if you want to politely change the subject, you can say, by the way, for example, by the way, have you tried the food here? This is a smooth way to move the conversation. Let's practice together. Imagine you're meeting me at a cafe. I ask you, what do you like to do in your free time? How would you answer? Write your answer in the comments below. I want to see your ideas, and I'll reply to as many as I can. We're going to cover phrases for work and school, the kind of English that helps you succeed in professional and academic settings. This is where English can really open doors for your career and your studies. Let's step into 2 places where English can completely change your life, work, and school. These are the environments where people often feel the most pressure to speak correctly. You want to sound professional. You want to sound smart. But the truth is, you don't need big, complicated words. What you need are simple, natural phrases that people use every day in offices, classrooms, and meetings. Let's start with the workplace. Imagine you are in an office meeting. You want to share your idea, but you don't know how to begin. A very natural phrase is, I'd like to add something. This is polite and professional. Another option is, can I share my thoughts on this? Both are respectful ways to enter the conversation. If you agree with someone, don't just say yes. Instead, use a phrase like, I think you're right, or I agree with that point. This shows you are engaged. If you don't fully agree, you can use soft phrases like, I see what you mean, but, or, that's a good point. However, these little words make disagreements sound polite, not rude. In many workplaces, you will also need to ask for clarification. If you didn't understand something, you can say, could you explain that again? Or, just to make sure I understand, you mean, and then repeat what you think they said. This not only helps you check your understanding, but it also shows you are listening carefully. When you need help, a professional phrase is, could you give me a hand with this project? Or simply, I could use some help with this task. And when someone helps you, always follow up with, thanks. I really appreciate your support. Gratitude goes a long way in building workplace relationships. Now let's move to the classroom. If you're a student, these phrases will help you communicate with teachers and classmates. When you don't understand something, don't stay silent. Just say, could you repeat that? Please. Or, I didn't quite get that. Could you explain it another way? These phrases show you are interested and serious. Teachers love it when students ask questions politely. If you need more time, you can ask, could I have a few more minutes? For example, during an exam or assignment, if you want to join a group discussion, you can say, can I add something here? Or, I'd like to share my opinion. These phrases make you sound active and confident in class. Sometimes you may need to be polite when you disagree. For example, in a debate, instead of saying, you're wrong, try, I see your point, but I have a different opinion. Or, that's interesting, but I think, this way, You show respect even when you don't agree. When you want to thank a teacher, you can say, "Thank you for your feedback," or "I really appreciate your help." These small words can build strong connections with your teachers and classmates. Quick practice for you. Imagine you're in a meeting at work. Someone just gave a great idea, and you want to agree politely. What would you say? Write your answer in the comments. Use one of the phrases you learned today. Quick practice for you. Imagine you're in a meeting at work. Someone just gave a great idea, and you want to agree politely. What would you say? Write your answer in the comments. Use one of the phrases you learned today. We're going to focus on phrases for travel and transportation. These are the phrases that will help you move around easily in airports, train stations, and taxis. If you've ever felt nervous about traveling in English, we talked about English for work and school. Now in part 5, let's take a trip together. Imagine you are at the airport, in a taxi, or waiting at a bus stop. Travel can be stressful even in your own language, but with the right English phrases, you can travel smoothly and confidently. These phrases are like your passport to easier journeys. Let's begin at the airport. When you check in, the agent might ask, "May I see your passport?" You should simply hand it over and say, "Here you go, sir." A polite and natural response. If you want to confirm your flight, you can say, "Is this the right gate for flight 25?" Or, "What time does boarding start?" These short questions save you from confusion. At security, if you're not sure what to do, you can ask, "Do I need to take off my shoes?" Or, "Should I take my laptop out?" These are common questions travelers ask. When you finally arrive at your destination, immigration officers may ask, "What's the purpose of your visit?" A simple answer could be, "I'm here on vacation," or "I'm here for business." They might also ask, "How long will you be staying?" You can answer, "I'll be here for 2 weeks," or "I'll be staying for 5 days." Short and clear answers are best at immigration. Now let's move to taxis and ride services. When you get in, the driver may ask, "Where to?" You can respond with, "Could you take me to," and then the location. For example, "Could you take me to Central Park?" If you want the driver to stop, just say, "Can you drop me off here, please?" And when you pay, you can ask, "How much is the fare?" Or, if you're using an app, simply confirm, "Is payment through the app?" At the end, don't forget to say, "Thank you for the ride." Small kindness goes a long way. Now imagine you're taking a bus or train. You might ask, "Does this bus go to the city center?" Or, "Is this the right train for London?" And these questions keep you from getting lost. If you're unsure about tickets, you can ask, "Where can I buy a ticket?" Or, "Do I need a ticket before getting on?" Very practical questions that travelers often forget until the last moment. And if you're late or confused, a very simple question is, "What time does the next bus leave?" Or, "When is the last train?" Knowing how to ask these will save you a lot of stress. Of course, when traveling, you'll sometimes need to ask strangers for help. Use polite phrases like, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the airport?" Or, "Is it far from here?" Most people are willing to help if you ask kindly, and if someone gives you directions, you can reply with, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate it." It shows gratitude and respect. Congratulations, you made it through all 100 phrases. But this is not the end. It's the beginning of your English journey. The more you practice, the more natural these phrases will feel. Now I have 3 small requests for you. First, if you found this lesson helpful, give this video a like. It really supports the channel. Second, subscribe to TalkTune English so you never miss our future lessons. We have so many more powerful lessons coming your way. And third, comment below with your favorite phrase from this series. Which one will you use first in real life? I want to know your answer, and I'll be reading the comments. Thank you for learning with me. Thank you for trusting me as your English teacher. And remember, every phrase you learn brings you one step closer to fluency. I'm Jason. This is TalkTune English, and I'll see you in the next video.